Good evening, folks. This is a video on how to replace a charcoal canister on a 2002 Lincoln LS. Vehicle's right here. Now, I've already done a lot of the work. I pulled the exhaust system off, the heat shield, disconnected the emergency brake cables, the ABS sensors. There's a lot going on underneath. I disconnected the drive shaft and disconnected the lower fill neck on the gas tank. I will be dropping, I replaced the rear rotors and pads and all that fancy stuff. I normally don't talk on my videos because I hate to hear my own voice, so I like to do shots, just get the shit done, shut the fuck up, and fix it. So tomorrow, which will be the 22nd, I'll be dropping the subframe to replace charcoal canister left, charcoal canister right. And there's two charcoal canisters, part number, oh, that was awesome. Oh. Dorman part number 91318, and then the large canister is 91304. So I will be videotaping myself dropping the subframe tomorrow and getting all of the bullshit out. There was another guy on YouTube stating that he cut the rear bed, some part of the fucking trunk out to get the canister out. Some shit right here. I'm not cutting shit. So either do it right or don't do it fucking at all. And I'm going to show you how to do it step by step mañana. Alright, so last night I was talking about dropping the subframe to replace the charcoal canisters on this Lincoln LS, 2002 Lincoln LS. So first step is taking the exhaust out. Self-explanatory. If you don't know how to take exhaust out, I don't know what to say to you. But there's the exhaust system right there, remove. Then you got to take the heat shield off right there. And then I did the rear rotors and pads. Had to put the wheels back on because I got to drop the subframe, and I don't think my jack is high enough where I got to bring the vehicle down just a taste. But I'm going to start showing you exactly what needs to be disconnected first. So first you disconnect the rear shocks, then you disconnect the parking brake cables. Then up here you disconnect your brake line and your ABS sensor and just let it hang for right now on both sides. Then you disconnect your drive shaft and your center support bearing. I marked my bolts so I can return them back to where they need to go when I put it back all together. I know where they need to go, but mark them. Use a colored pens or whatever you choose to use. In the manual, it states if you have a vibration that you didn't put it back where you took it from, so I already know where it needs to go. That's the next thing, is disconnecting the fuel fill neck, and then once you're all at that point, it's time to start dropping the subframe. It looks like I'm gonna have to get a new hose. This one is deteriorating and pretty bad and crumbling. So once I get the subframe out, make sure you have a catch can to catch the dripping. If your tank is full, you're going to lose a lot more fuel than what I've lost. I didn't lose very much. Also, too, like I said earlier, you have to disconnect this bolt here, and this is for the bracket, for the brake cable on both sides, ABS lines, all that kind of crap. And I'm ready to lower the vehicle a little bit and get the tires on the ground. Actually, lower the vehicle just a taste. If my jack can reach that high, then I'll just bring it on down. Be back shortly. So my jack reached up here just fine. I'm going to use a 15 millimeter socket to loosen the subframe bolts. That's one. Two piece. I'll be back. Gotta use two hands. Alright, so all 4 subframe bolts are out. I'm going to have to put the camera down, just showing you my progress. 1, 2, 3, and 4 up there. Everything is detached. I'm going to slowly let it down just in case. Alright, subframe is down. The rear strut assembly's got a little bit in the way, but no big deal. And that's what I'm after, these goddamn charcoal canisters. So I'll let the subframe all the way down, leaving it on the jack so I can jack it back up when it's time. Just keep an eye on everything that you're doing. That way there's no problems. But I have plenty of space to get to the charcoal canisters as we speak. So I'll work on that next and then take a shot of it. So there's 4 8mm bolts that need to be removed to drop the charcoal canisters out. Gotta buy me a tripod. Shit. There they are, charcoal canisters. Yay. I'm gonna go ahead and replace these. I think it's pretty much self-explanatory. The reason why. So there they are, charcoal canisters left and right. One is smaller than the other. The reason why I'm replacing charcoal canisters is that the owner of the vehicle is having some issues fueling up at the gas pump, and especially when it's windy out here in Nevada. She complains of the temperature and all that. But anyway, charcoal canisters are at fault, according to the tests. So there they are. This one and that one. I got the new ones on the table. So here's a charcoal canister. There's one hose up by the gas tank that you got to disconnect. You just pull on it and it'll tilt out right there. Once you install it, you got to lubricate the O-ring. It's right there. Son of a bitch. A little bit of a tight fit, but they'll come out. I'm going to replace the hoses while I'm in here. They're pretty cracked and not the best shape. So just to save myself a check engine light, I'll go ahead and take care of that. Oh, and then there's a rivet here that you got to drill out. Right there with a small charcoal canister. And then on this side, I think it just pops up. Well, you bend these brackets back and then it comes out. So I'll be gentle. Be back shortly. There they are. Drill out that rivet and they come right out. Part. Hopefully it lasts. Just sits in there like so. Oop. There's the new 2 charcoal canisters in there. I am going to see if I got any hose to replace these dried out jemmies to prevent that unnecessary check engine light. So I'm in the process of reinstallation. I'm going to pop a pop rivet back in there, and then I got to go search for these hoses. I really want to put the right stuff. I don't want to put any heater hose or anything like that. So I'm going to see if I can locate the actual hosing, and I've already got it approved by the customer to buy them. So my rivet wasn't big enough, so I just shoved a fucking bolt and nut through there. Alright. So I'm going to see if I can locate these hoses. I'll put all the part numbers in the description when I find them. Going to see if I can find the part numbers for these hoses online. Might as well replace them while I got this thing already out. You know what I mean? So going on day 2, I had to go locate some parts because of the condition of the hoses on this particular charcoal canister. I'll put all the part numbers in the description once I get to it, but just letting you know, these parts are no longer available. They're obsolete.
Well, like I said, I'll put them in the description. I replaced the hose with 3/4 inch heater hose or coolant hose. It's only going to be passing vapor. This particular hose is okay. It's not cracked or damaged in any way, so I inspected that. And I got to check the hose going from the tank to this port for the charcoal canister. Once I do all that, all this shit's going to go back inside. Then I'll film the reinstallation.
So as you can see, this line right here, I replaced it with the proper size, the 3/4 coolant hose. Only going to be passing vapor. I didn't replace that hose because it didn't need to be replaced. And I'm going to trust that this valve here is not going to fail on me, considering I had everything apart. Just delay on parts is ridiculous. Got my little helper right there. Say hi, Asher.
Hi!
Okay. So I'm going to start reassembling and securing all the brackets and everything. Going to replace this, definitely. I found this online. I'll throw a part number in the description. The fuel fill holes are just crumbling apart, just a fire waiting to happen. Just remember to reattach your ABS wires, your connector for your purge solenoid, which I'm doing right now. Oh, beautiful. Now I got the lock tab back in position. And then I got to put the 4 bolts back in for the mounts. And then position the jack, lift it up, and put this sucker back in. Book time states 4 hours, but I've been doing this over the last couple of days, so whatever. So the subframe is in. A little awkward, but I got it. Pay attention to your emergency park brake cables up there in front of the yoke. Attaching the lower control arm, lower shock bolts. And just to let you know, in the service manual, it says to replace these bolts. Well, I'm not replacing them. Next step is to make sure your cables are in position for when you pull your brake cables, it'll go back into your brake calipers for your emergency brake. Next is reattach your lower fuel hose and then your drive shaft. I've already marked my drive shaft with some marks so I know which bolts go where. Put an X on that one. Put a flat spot on that one, and so on and so forth. So I marked my bolts too, so I'm going to put them exactly where I took them from. Be back shortly. So when reattaching your center, put them here, install them there, reattach to the body, make sure you don't cross thread them. There we go. Had to seat the rear drive shaft into the pilot hole. Walk it in with your fingers. I think this one's a 15 or a 16. Find out in a minute. So like I said earlier, all the drive shaft bolts are back where I took them from, already marked. Make sure you confirm that your cables are inside of the e-brake, whatever the hell it's called. And then make sure you put your washers in right here, right there and right there on your center support bearing, and make sure it's straight. Tighten up the clamp. I'll be replacing this hose in a couple days when it arrives. I can get away with it right now. So make sure you reattach your bracket for your brake cable, your ABS wire, and this if you disconnected it on both sides.
So to wrap this job up, got to put the heat shield on, which consists of 4 11mm bolts or 7/16, and then 2 8mm bolts up front. Then it'll be the exhaust system going back in, fire the fucker up, see what it's doing, make sure it's no codes, and then reinstall the wheel. That's how you replace the charcoal canister on a Lincoln LS 2002 with a 3.9 liter engine. Thank you. Have a good day.